The quietest room in the house is often where the most expensive mistakes are revealed. If you've been watching the agricultural landscape in West Africa, you already know we aren't talking about potentials anymore. We are talking about recovery. Let's do a low tone, honest breakdown of the catastrophic ginger collapse in Nigeria. Look at how the global players operate and map out exactly how we rebuild this value chain properly. The reality, the 2023 to 2025 ginger collapse. For decades, Nigeria enjoyed its position as the second largest producer of ginger in the world. Our advantage wasn't just the sheer quantity, it was the quality. You see, Nigerian ginger from Southern Kaduna is globally prized for its high potency, intense aroma, and rich oleoresin content. Exporters and pharmaceutical companies specifically look for that aggressive early kick. Then came August 2023, a massive swift fungal epidemic called ginger blight. Ginger blight swept through the primary producing states within weeks. Over 90% of the entire national harvest was wiped out in the soil, costing farming families and investors over 12 billion naira in immense losses, despite the obvious failure by individual farmers, especially due to deliberate spread of uncertified seeds. Many still believe that the government is to be blamed. Till today, people are actively celebrating government failure instead of sitting down to strategize majorly on what to do. You see, many believe somebody sent a terminator seed. Oh, it's one GMO seed somewhere. It's somebody from the United States. It's somebody from Europe. It's somebody that is not interested in helping the Nigerian system. It's somebody that is not interested in helping the Nigerian farmer. Some even said it's somebody that wanted to kill the impact of the Nigerian ginger in the global market. Very sad. Let's be brutally honest here. You cannot continue to blame the government when you have been using the same exact primitive system of cultivation for decades. There is always an entrepreneurial solution to problems around us. If ginger industry in Nigeria was easily generating over $20 million annually, why are farmers and agripreneurs not 10x that figure via processing and adding higher value chain component? Why have they settled down to the old way of doing things for decades? Why did they choose comfort over industrialization? And then blight simply came and exposed that laziness. What did we do right versus what we did wrong? Listen, we must be objective to correct the future. We cannot blame bad luck for a system failure. This is important. What did we do right? Natural variety excellence. Through generations, we stabilize highly competitive land races that possess world-class oil profile. Our seeds were amazing. Low-cost scaling. We proved that the thousands of smallholder clusters could organize to capture significant global market share purely on the back of favorable soil. But what went wrong? One, the infamous seed trap. Farmers simply save a portion of their diseased previous harvest or buy a recycled rhizome from open market. There was no certified pathogen-free seed pipeline. Zero system innovation is the second thing. We waited until the field turned yellow and rotted before realizing that there was an epidemic. Thirdly, victim mentality. Instead of treating agriculture as a high-stakes science, the ecosystem folded its arms, waiting for federal intervention that always arrived too late. The global playground. Now, how the leaders operate to understand how to fix this? Well, I think we should look at the data. Let's compare how Nigeria infrastructure stacks up against the heavyweight. The country, let's look at the global bank volume, their cultivation strategy, their core advantage, and what is the lesson for Nigeria. Number one, I talk about India, the largest producer, 2.2 million metric tons, high input, optimized smallholder, government-backed certified seed micropropagation, and specialized research institute. You cannot protect an export crop without an active scientific breeding pipeline. It is not possible. Government played its role in certifying their seeds. What about China? Number three, 660,000 tons, heavily industrialized and intensive field, mass scale standardization, mechanized washing, drying, and dominant export logistics. Their volume is massive, useless if you don't control the processing standard. It is totally useless. Every time in China, they tell themselves, if we don't control the processing standard for our ginger, every other effort is useless. If we don't control cold chains, all that thing is useless. What about South Africa? Well, South Africa is the niche leader. They have a controlled environment input. They produce more or a little in the greenhouse. They design to isolate the soil from pathogens completely. When the soil becomes hostile, you lift the plant off the ground. Now, how can Nigeria do well again? And I want everyone to listen to this. This is my playbook. You see, if we like, we can take it. If we don't, we can do as we like. Well, this is the time I feel to make money from ginger. Guys, the future belongs to controlling the growing environment of ginger. Listen, back in 2016, I was in South Africa for training, and then my mentor told me about a similar disease problem that forced ginger farmers, smart ones, to move ginger cultivation into greenhouse tunnels. I can't forget that experience. But he gave me a secret. He said the key to profitability in ginger is eating 5 kg and above per grow bag. A grow bag of 50 cm by, I think, 50 by 32 by 50 cm. 32 by 50. 32 by 50. Just that. If you can eat 5 kg and above, because in a single tunnel of 200 square meter, you can have about 550 bags and achieve more than 2.5 tons of ginger per cycle. That's all you need. And then you rotate. Immediately you finish growing ginger, you plant pepper, or you bring in tomato. You bring in what is not a rhizome crop. You bring in a vegetable. See, when I was showing this possibility of doing 5 kg per grow bag of, a grow bag of 36 cm by 38 cm in the greenhouse tunnel, this was the exact math that I was looking at. And I kept telling my friends, everyone, said, this is what we need to do. If we can produce effectively and can achieve 5 kg and above in this grow bag, you will be amazed. It means people can buy greenhouses and grow ginger, then cycle or rotate with bell pepper comfortably. This 200 square meter greenhouse can accommodate about 550 bags at 5 kg. It means over 2.5 tons from that small space. Imagine that. That is what a standard plot, can achieve. And you will even be shocked at what that cycle can give for you. So what is the recovery blueprint? For me, so if we are to plan a proper recovery process, what do we need to do? We need to ditch the open field production. Stop planting directly into contaminated bush or soil. Stop planting into fungus-infected ground. We need to move to biosecure. It might be a greenhouse. It might be a treated portion, of the soil. It might be a separated environment entirely using a clean substrate. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Substrates in grow bag or trough or whatever. We now need to monetize the value chain. Stop exporting raw ginger. Evident. Real wealth is in processing. We need to move into slicing, solar drying, oleoresin extraction. That's what we need to do. We need to run strict crop rotation. Once your ginger cycle clears out of the tunnel, utilize that same tunnel to grow pepper or tomato. Grow a high value vegetable. Keep ginger to vegetable. The ginger collapse wasn't a failure of the African soil. It was a failure of our protective system. The market demand hasn't gone anywhere. Listen to me, guys. The world still wants the unique premium Nigerian flavor profile. If you want to change the story, do not repeat the mistake. The world still wants the pungent, the hot, the unique Nigerian ginger. But if you want to change the story, we cannot repeat the same mistake that brought us here. There must be a clear path going further. Yeah, we can still grow in the open field, but there must be a clear rotational system. Anywhere you have grown or you have planted ginger, you must leave the place at that same time. After your harvest, move to another place so that the land can, number one, rest. You must have a proper sterilization process so that you don't come back to produce in an infected soil and then carry it further. Lastly, for every ginger that is kept as seed, there must be a proper GAP, good agronomic practice, before a seed goes back to the soil. Sterilization is key. Cleaning is key. Disinfecting. We must find a way to disinfect. Disinfecting is key. All this we must do if we want to get back, not just to number two. Nigeria has the potential to be the largest producer of the best quality ginger in the world. Stop thinking that an enemy is chasing us. Stop thinking that there is a terminator seed out there. Stop thinking that there is somebody sitting in one lab engineering a genetically modified variety to kill what good ginger production the Nigeria industry have. Stop believing in that, how do I put it? Stop believing in that story. It is not the truth. The error was caused by our mistake. The error was caused by our primitive system. It is time to change that. It is time to forge a new path for better ginger production in Nigeria. Listen to me. Nobody is after you. Nobody is chasing you. Ginger is a big business. Think like a businessman. Protect the crop. Protect its value chain. Protect the market. Protect the processes. Protect the seed. Protect the check. Let there be a system. Let the root cause of this problem that came up be solved. And then there will be a new front for ginger cultivation, ginger processing, ginger marketing in Nigeria and Africa for a greater future. My name is Adebowale Onofowere. Thank you for now.